Hey guys, D.Bowie here, and these are the things that I learned with SECRET.Arteezy's TA at TI6. Well, before I start this video, you're probably going to notice that F5 was not a TI6 team, so just to clear it up, this is a game from the qualifiers. TA is a hero that never had a patch where she was considered a tier 1 hero. It's actually pretty surprising to me that TA was so ignored at TI6, considering she's pretty decent with Draw Ranger, as well as being a good counter in lane to Timbersaw, Invoker, and having ways of contesting Roshan, and in my opinion being even good against Mirana. Anyway, enough of my rant. In this game I think they gave TA to Arthur because not only it is good against Timber in lane, but the two roamers from Radiant don't have damage over time, which means that if Arthur plays safe, it's very hard for him to be ganked by Fantastic 5. You might be wondering why TA is a good hero against Timber in lane since he's so good against physical damage and that's all TA provides. But what many people fail to realize is that the Psyblade split damage is pure, so regardless of how many armor the Timber has, he will take the damage based on the armor of the creeps Arteezy is hitting in the lane. And that's also why he starts with the Psyblades. It's not like the Timbersaw is good denying his creeps anyways, and he can deal way more damage to Timber spending no mana since Timber is a melee hero. Also, when Timber gets hit by the Psyblade spill damage, he doesn't get a reactive armor proc, so that's pretty good as well. And check how he doesn't focus the creeps to less hit them, and not only right clicking his own creeps, but denying Timbers as well. Another important part of why TA is good against Timber is that even though in the early levels it's very easy for the Timber to use Whirling Death on her, she can always compensate for the damage she loses by using Refraction. One very overlooked part of very good TA players is the trap placement. A lot of people like to place their first traps in the high ground part of the enemy mid lane, and they usually do that without even thinking about it. But Arteezy is more worried about the nighttime rotations from the Night Stalker and the Earth Spirit, and since he already has a ward covering the other side, he places that very unusual and deep trap, which could be a path of initiation for the Earth Spirit. Right after placing it, he sees movements in his jungle, so he adds another very unusual trap in the high ground of his own jungle.
Tech 1 type strategy moving forward with the Morphling, where you're just kind of all in on Illidan going big in late game. Has a Sal, so he doesn't mind take that.
When he's moving towards the rune to place a trap in the Radiance jungle, he gets ambushed by two supports, but again, until our Spirit has his ult, all of his skills and Oracle skills are very bad against TA's Refraction, and he mans up. By placing himself in the correct spot, he stops the rolling boulder and gets the kill. Another aspect of the traps that a lot of people don't know or understand is that when you place one, they don't slow for the full amount right away. They start at 30% slow and they go up to 60% slow after 4 seconds. And in this clip we see Arthur making use of it. He gets ganked. Also, check that he has a trap on his side of the map and not the enemy's. He knows that the Earth Spirit can initiate him from very far away, so he would rather have the trap close to him, which is where the Earth Spirit is going to be. And as expected, the Earth Spirit ganks him. He places another trap right away and waits a bit to explode this one, to slow them more, and he survives. Even though the TA is good in the lane against the Timber, after Timber has the Chakram, things change a little bit. In this clip, Arteezy wants the rune and even spawns a trap close to their ancients to scout whether the Timber is going alone or not. And even though he is apparently the only person there, he doesn't contest the Timber, because the Chakram can burn the refractions very fast, and that's very scary as a TA. Something that really bothers me is when I see people playing TA, and when they go for the Desolator, they build the freaking Mithril Hammer before the Blightstone. Seriously, not only the Blightstone costs like 1/5 of the Mithril Hammer, but you also help your entire team deal more damage against heroes and towers, so please always start the Desolator with this item. I'm pretty sure there's almost never a reason to build a hammer before it. In this clip, since no one from Fantastic 5 is showing in the map, Arteezy decides to farm the jungle, and you definitely want to farm the creeps like he does here, trying to hit multiple creeps at once. And when they are not that strong or it's not a stack, it's okay to tank them but be able to cleave through them all really fast. And F5 out of nowhere shows in the mid lane, and check Arteezy's reactions here. He places a trap where they are, but again he waits a little bit to pop it. He disengages, goes back to fight, and during fights where there are not a lot of creeps hitting the Timbersaw, you can see how the physical damage from the TA is indeed very powerful against him. She does damage in very big instances, which works against the concept of the reactive armor, which is getting a lot of small hits and stacking up the region and the armor. Envy tries to run away, and I want to emphasize this for the last time. He places the trap and he doesn't pop it right away. while at the same time he slows both heroes, so that's very good placement. And even though our beloved Weebo dies, check how that very old trap pays off and they get the extra 3 kills.
SECRET.RTezy's coming back in. This is so tough. The Glimpse coming through. Waveform, not enough mana for it. On the other side, he still has his Ring of Health. Regetting up here comes the old back in. Boulder Smash. Refraction's still there. He's got plenty of charges.
He is mana for Waveform. There you go.
Puppy's looking. This could be a big call. Onto 2. He gets silenced up in the end. Still, they're just going to work with the Iron Shell. They get the call off the 1 dunk. 2 dead. And eventually it is Secret that takes the engagement. There's a TP coming in, but I don't think it's going to really do anything. Meanwhile, RTZ finds another one of the...
I actually said that you always want to have the Blightstone first before going Desolator, but to be honest, even if you're going Blink, Blightstone is a very good way to balance the lack of damage you're going to have in teamfights for a very cheap price. And well, you want the Desolator later anyway, so it's not like you're going to waste that money afterwards. After those wins, Arteezy feels comfortable enough farming his Ancient stack, and check his positioning here. He is in a good enough place to line all the Ancients, but not so in the open like some TAs that lure the Ancients in the direction of the river, which is very important considering the very strong early gank aspect of Fantastic Five's lineup. The first item, Blink Dagger, is a very good item against teams that want to fight very early, because it allows the TA to run if she pops the refraction before the gank. Especially considering that the Timbersaw is the only hero there with the damage over time reliably, since Earth Spirit's ult cooldown is relatively high. And remember what I said about TA being good against Timbersaw in fights, where there are no creeps or units hitting the Timbersaw a lot? With the Berserker's Call they quickly snipe the Timber, even without the Desolator. And remember what I said about the Earth Spirit ult? The refraction charges burn very fast, and I'm pretty sure he only dies here because of it.
Tail it out of there, 40 seconds. The Glimpse comes through, Pasha's gonna get put back. Arteezy though might be in trouble, magnetized.
Even though Radiant doesn't have the best Roshan lineup, it's always good to have a trap around the area to check what Fantastic Five is up to, especially considering that Secret doesn't have a lot of vision overall. And as soon as nighttime is over, they attempt Roshan. With a very good use of his illusions, he manages to take a good chunk of the Roshan without losing any HP, even though he has no Desolator. They force the Night Stalker ult, and that's a very good trade since F5 is very bad at Roshing.
Career for a long time, and finally has been picked up by Pasha. He's not really that farmed. In fact, you look at the axe, and it's actually pretty close. Blink Dagger is going to give you a bit of an advantage for the axe in this regard.
The axe is the full position as well, though, so it's like...
After Arteezy retreats, Secret smokes because they know that Fantastic Five are around. And check how Magnetize completely destroys the TA again. It's actually a very similar fight to the last one Arteezy died. The Earth Spirit survives just enough to pop his ult, and even though Arteezy thread switches to Strength and wait as much as possible to pop the last refraction, the Earth Spirit pops another stone and there's nothing Secret can do.
Oh man, they missed the Static Storm on everyone. The Magnetize coming through, and Yo gets the false promise to the tail end of the engagement. Shocker of Arteezy melted up, will maybe go down, but he just barely gets the refraction off. Great call to stop any further damage to Magnetize.
Since Arteezy was worried about dying the entire fight and was unable to dish a lot of damage, they end up losing the fight. In this other clip, Radiant already has Aegis and they are smoked, but since Arteezy has Refractions and Blink, they are disencouraged from going on him.
He's going to walk up and try to CS. Instead, they're going to go to the backline for Puppy.
They can't gank it easily if you get the blink off the wait.
And they go for everyone in the back. And well, even though I want to praise Arteezy, what wins the fight, even though Fantastic Five has the Aegis, is how the X call into Static Storm into Vacuum really damages everyone. When Arteezy blinks, he actually ends up missing his meld, and even though he makes this mistake, it's very hard for Radiant to win this since the Oracle dies before using his ult. Magnetize even gets popped, but this is a very different fight. Arteezy doesn't get focused and is stuck in a chakram like the other one. Envy even completely whiffs his ult, but they also get the Timbersaw with the very unexpected interaction of the trap into Glimpse.
That Timbersaw Chakram will in depth. Now he's able to get up to the Timbersaw or Timber Chain up to the high ground. Glimpse back is there, and he will end up going down. He'll try the Timber Chain again, and finally Secret with a huge static.
Okay guys, this is it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of this replay breakdown, please check the link in the description. I can't overstate how this video wouldn't ever be possible without the huge help from the Pugna guys, so please show them some love. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe to it. I'm making videos like this every day, and I'm sure something here will spark your interest. Bye guys. You can select the specific web and destroy it. so he decides to change the way his webs are set up, and by destroying that one he knows he won't lose the web he's on top right now. Against Firefly, having the web set up in that direction is useless, so he would rather have the invisibility close to his tower to avoid the bat diving him while he farms the lane.
We're expecting the bat to be off lane, so we'll see if Alliance want to make adjustments, but to be honest, I still think Brood vs. Bat is a fine matchup. Early on though, EG doing a good job at harassing